when people talk about building a brand, like,
Yeah.
I guess, do you tell them to go any specific channel? Like, what are like the core fundamentals that you're teaching them?
Okay. Very good question. So it's hot seat style coaching. There is no curriculum. There is no coursework. It's tailored for each person. So as I'm figuring out what each person's trying to do, I will say, hey, I need you to read this book, but actually I need you to listen to the audiobook, or here's a YouTube video. So it's really curated into for individuals, like what it is that you're going to do. Now, if you're listening on the call and you're like, man, I need help with that. Yeah, it's going to work for you. You're going to consume the same pieces of content, but each person has a different problem because they're at different stages in the game and they're trying to do different things. Today's coaching call was about, how do I tell my story? I'm a little sloppy. I know when I go to do public speaking, it's inspirational. I move people, and then they go and tell me a little bit of their story. It's a little bit all over the place. So let's refine, let's bring it down, let's boil down the idea. And they got so much clarity from that. And I was like, okay, that's where that person's at. And that's fantastic. Someone's not even in that public speaking space. They want to just grow on LinkedIn. So we look at content then. We
Right.
look at content strategy or content repurposing, or understanding, like, what is your podcast doing? Let me look at that with you. It's
And
very hands-on in that way.
I love it. And I guess the group coaching aspect. So I know the way Sam did it in the past was like, okay, have a bunch of people come to the classroom, and then like they just, what do you guys want to talk about today? I think
Yep.
we're watching some of the videos. So for you, it's people show up hot seat style. I guess over 90 minutes, how many hot seats are you doing? I'm trying to figure out how that workflow looks.
Okay. At most, it's going to be 3. It'll be at least 1. It depends on, and I want to keep it flexible. I talked to my guy who helps me run the program. I said, I always want to have 1 person on deck and 1 person in the queue. So in case this gets resolved or we can't figure it out because they're not prepared, we're like, okay, we're going to pause. We're going to bring the other person in. And then naturally, each person tries to pull it apart. They contribute to it. So it's a very organic conversation.
Yeah.
Most of the times I'm leading it, but sometimes people are like, hey, I have some tips on how to do that with SEO or AI. And I love that because everybody brings in their own expertise.
It is very much a mastermind in that situation.
Yeah.
Do you think this model scales? Because you're at 11 right now. It seems to work out. But once you get to like 50 people, do you think they're all in the same call? Or
That's a very good question. I don't think so. My feeling is if you're a 7-8-figure entrepreneur, you're not going to want to sit on every call. There's some people who have told me, I really just enjoy the call, watching you coach. I'm going to be there for as many calls as possible. But I think what it is we're going to talk to Betty next week, and Betty's got a problem around this. Her videos need some help. So anybody's like, video, you should tune in. But we also allow people to bring in their assistants, their partners, so that they don't have to then relay that information. So if you're in the hot seat, you're allowed to bring in your friends. When I say your friends, meaning your project manager, your designer, your copywriter, and they're listening. I'm only interacting with the Brand Lab member, but then their teams are listening.
got it.
We're trying to save as many steps as possible. Thankfully now Zoom has those call summaries. They get the call summary, they get the PDF of the whiteboard, and of course everybody gets access to the recorded call.
I love it. And so your ambition here, you said 3.6 million. So you would get this to like 200 members or so?
That would be 100 because it's $36,000 for a year,
Ah,
$18,000 for half a year.
got it.
And I like this half year idea, which I got from Jasmine Starr. She's like, just cut it to 6 months because what if you don't like it? What if you don't like these people? You could discourage them from re-enrolling next
Yeah.
time. Because there's always going to be people you can't make happy.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with them for a year. It's too long of a commitment.
Yeah.
And what if like 8 months in, they're like, this is miserable, I want my money back. Well, you screwed yourself.
Yeah.
So I like this 6-month idea. It's a shorter sprint. It makes it easier because then we just enroll people twice a year. So hopefully people who get value, they re-up. But if they got what they needed,
Yeah.
happy to send them on their way. Hopefully they tell a couple of people and then this thing will grow.